Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here on Fergs-Folly. I'm taking you along as I tinker, build, fix, and sometimes just figure it out as I go. Whether it's engines, boats, or whatever breaks next, we're learning together. Let's get into today's adventure. Hey guys, so what we got going on today is I've got a Beta 300. It's got some worn out brake rotors, and in this video episode I'm going to be replacing the front one. It's got a little bit of a lip there, and yeah, we're going to get that taken care of today. First things first, I'm going to pull this cap off so that we can get the axle loose, and it's easiest when the lugs are still tight so the axle doesn't spin potentially. I have to say I really love these Nipix pliers with the flat jaw if you don't have the right socket size. So now, using an 8mm socket, we're going to loosen the front fork lugs. You just need to loosen these guys up. No need to take them all the way out. And once they're loose, you should be able to pull the axle out. And the front wheel drops out. It's going to be up in the brake a little bit. I'm going to wiggle a little bit just to spread those pads apart. And that front wheel's out. Now we'll go ahead and get the brake rotor unpackaged and check for fit. Yep, looks like we'll have to take the magnet out of the other one to put in there so the speedo and everything works. I, being lazy, am going to use my electric ratchet. Just an inexpensive one off Amazon, but we'll break these guys all loose. All right, set the screws down over here so I don't lose all of them. Pop this guy off. And the nice thing about doing a video like this is I can remember which way they go because I can always go back and look at it. And you can see right here that this magnet should come off pretty easy just with a set of snap ring pliers. Let me go quickly grab a set. Pop the old one out. Looks like there's a little washer under it. Okay, so the snap ring went on the other side, went opposite the letter side. So I'm going to insert this from this side, see the lettered side, flip it over, and it had this little washer here. And then we've got the snap ring. And we'll use the snap ring pliers. Get it on there. If you can take and spin the snap ring around it, then you know that you've got it in the groove. And that's what it looks like on the back side. And then the front side. This is ready to go back on. Okay, so I got some Loctite here. I just like to put a little dab on each one just to be sure. And in the book, they don't show what the tightening torque is for this in the Beta, but bolts are the same size and rough thread depth are 10 Newton meters, so we're going to get these installed, run them down, and then we'll tighten them down in a kind of a crisscross star pattern. Now I'm just going to run these down, and then we'll torque them. All right. Okay, we've got our torque wrench set to 10 Newton meters, which is 88.5 inch-pounds, and now we're going to tighten down these bolts in a star pattern. And I like to just run around the circle just to make sure I wasn't being stupid and missed something. Okay, we are all good. And I usually back these things off so the springs don't compress and give me false measurements. Okay, one thing we need to do now is we want to replace the brakes at the same time, because they've worn in to match the rotor. So if the rotor had a lip, the brakes will have a lip too. So the next thing we're going to do is pull the brake pads out. To pull the brake pads out, there's a pin on the lower end of the brake caliper. You need a 5mm X Allens, I like to call them. And I've already replaced mine before and replace the caps and everything. So there's a cap over the top, and then underneath is the pin. And sometimes these can be a bear. I've had mine out not that long ago. That pin's going to come out. When that pin comes out, you want to make sure you got your hands over the brakes, and then they should just drop right out. This outer one and the inner one. And you want to make sure that your clip is in there, which is just kind of an anti-vibrate clip, but you want to make sure that's in there still and in position. Okay, so now we can put the brake pads in, new brake pads. One thing you want to be certain of is that this clip here goes up underneath the groove up top, otherwise you won't be able to get your pin in the bottom and get everything aligned. Bottom clip's in place, and kind of slip it up and then rock it down, and then same thing for the other one. It's up in place. There we go. And that bottom pin goes all the way through, and it starts threading in, and the pin should come out and go in the far side here with the two pads engaged. And they're locked in now and can't come out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tighten that pin up. Basically it should bottom out on the thread side, and just like to get it nice and snug. And then we're going to put that cap in, which just ensures that it doesn't come out, and like double nutting, and also seals it for moisture. Okay, new brake pads are in. All right, now since we've got new brake pads, a new thick rotor, the likelihood of that rotor sliding in there is pretty small. So what we got to do is we need to push the pistons back and the caliper a little bit. And to do that, I'm going to take a C-clamp and just clamp it over the brake caliper. You want to make sure you're not getting into any hoses or your brake line on the far side. You shouldn't. And it doesn't take much. Just want to push the piston back in just a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom piston. Just to even it out. So far I haven't been rained on by brake fluid coming out of the master cylinder up on the bars, so evidently I have a little bit of room in there. So what I was noticing down in was this is the spring that goes over this cap right here, and so I'm gonna get that put back in place really quick. All right, okay, that's back in place. Good. This is just a little bit of copper never seize, anti-seize compound. And I'm just gonna put it on here. Get the pad spread. Add the pads. There we go. And just work the axle in. Basically, you need to get it all aligned. Get that axle all the way through. Okay, so now with the wheels loosely in place, I'm going to thread in the end cap. Not tighten it all the way, just thread it in where it's up and touching. And I'm going to start tightening down these pinch bolts. Bring the pinch bolts down a bit, make sure that axle's all the way in. And not very tight, just basically where they're contacting the upper lug. Okay, then I'm gonna give that wheel a spin and bring my front brakes in. Sure everything's working. Yep. All right, next step is we want to compress that fork a few times just to get everything nice and aligned. So I'm gonna bring it off the stand, hop on it, grab your front brake, and just push it forward a few times. Okay, so the next step is to torque those front lugs, and we need to get the dog out of the way so we can see what we're doing. But again, we're going to torque these to 10 Newton meters, 88.5 inch-pounds. Right, easy. And as you tighten one, the other one's going to loosen up a little bit. So you just want to go work these back and forth until they're both meeting the torque spec. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so those are tight. And the final step with this is to tighten down the axle cap here. And I do not have a socket that is that size, so I am going to use my Knipex wrench and then get it good and tight. And that's it. We've got the front brake rotor replaced, brake pads, new brake pads, but the one thing left is to shoot down this brake rotor and just get any grease on it off that I may have carried over. Okay, so I threw it up on the stand just to make this job just a little bit easier. Got some brake clean, and I'm just gonna spray this rotor down. Trying to get any grease off of it that I carried over. Looks like I did a little bit. And we're gonna do the same thing with the other side. Doesn't need to be perfectly clean. You just want to get the grease off, because the first puddle you go through, it's going to get dirty. But it's good to start out in a good place. And that's it. So we pulled the wheel off, we replaced the rotor, put new brake pads in, and put it all back together. Thanks for watching, and our next video we'll be doing the back along with chain and sprockets.